Imagine your doctor tells you, you need to exercise more. So you go, all right, let's do running. And then immediately somebody says, running destroys your knees. And now you're stuck. Do you listen to the doctor or the person who's telling you that running is bad for your knees? It sounds like a simple question, but the more you think about it, the more complicated it becomes. Everybody seems to have an opinion on this, but nobody ever explains why. They just say it like a fact that, running wears your knees out, running damages your cartilage, stick to walking or stick to a better cardio. For example, swimming and walking may be a better option than running. And if we're being honest, it may sound completely believable at first, because every time you run, your knees are absorbing force week after week, step after step for years. So naturally, it may feel like those steps are wearing down your knee, almost like wearing out the tread on your car tires. Makes sense, doesn't it? That's exactly what I believe too. So I started digging into where this belief actually originated from. Instead of asking, is running bad for your knees? Maybe we should be asking, how does the human body respond to running? And to understand why, let's imagine two people. The first person goes for a run 3 times a week, nothing crazy, just enough to stay fit. And then the second person who never runs, barely exercises, and sits for most of the day. Now, without overthinking it, I want you to tell me whose knees will be healthier 10 years down the track. If you're like most people, you probably pick the second person because they're not wearing out their knees. But is that also backed up by research? Here's the mistake that I think we've been making. We're thinking of the human body as if it's a machine, because machines wear out, whereas living tissue adapts. So why would our knees get weaker every time we use them? Section 2. I found this one study that completely changed my perspective on running. Actually, calling it one study isn't fair because there was a systematic review and a meta-analysis. What that means is that researchers didn't just look at one sample of evidence, they looked at multiple different experiments and multiple different reports, and then came to a conclusion. Altogether, they looked at a sample size of 125,000 people, which included 3 groups. People who didn't run, people who were recreational runners, and competitive runners. If everything we've been told is true, let's make a prediction. We would expect the highest rates of arthritis in people who are competitive runners or recreational runners compared to people who didn't run at all, because they're using their knees more, so more arthritis. Makes sense, right? But that's not exactly what happened. The researchers found that recreational runners had the lowest rates of arthritis than compared to population who didn't run at all. Now, before anyone clips this out of context, I'm not saying that running protects your knees. And I'm definitely not saying that everyone watching this video should sign up for a marathon. That's not what the paper says. What it says is much more interesting. Maybe running isn't the villain that we've made it to be. But then if running puts hundreds of kilograms of force through the knee, shouldn't more force equal more damage? That sounds logical until you realize the human body doesn't really work like that. Think about it like this. If I told you I started lifting weights and 6 months later my muscles are now smaller because I use them too much, you'd probably laugh at me, because that's not how muscles work. They adapt. Use them appropriately, they'll get stronger. Stop using them, they'll get weaker. The same thing happens with bone. Take astronauts, for example. They actually lose some bone density in space because they're not loading their skeleton enough. Their bodies adapt. The body adapts to whatever you put it through, and your knees are no exception. One of the most important tissues in the knee is cartilage. Most people imagine cartilage like rubber on tire. Every run wears the tread a little bit. Except cartilage isn't rubber, it's living tissue. One analogy that I really love to explain cartilage is that of a sponge. Imagine dropping a sponge into a bucket of water. You squeeze it, the dirty water comes out. When you release it, it catches new fresh water. Your knees do something remarkably similar. Every step compresses the cartilage, the next step releases it. So it's compression, release, compression, release. That movement helps support fluid through the cartilage and support its normal function. So movement itself isn't automatically an enemy. In fact, healthy cartilage needs movement. But there's one word that I avoided deliberately, that is appropriate. Because giving your body a challenge and giving it something that it's not ready for are completely two different things. And once I realized that, something suddenly makes sense. Because if running isn't the problem, then why do runners often end up in pain? Because let's be honest, they do. I think the answer to that has very little to do with running itself. It's actually more about how people run. And this is where I think almost everyone gets it wrong. Section 3, I think we've been blaming the wrong thing. Let me paint you a picture. It's Monday morning. You say, all right, I'm going to get fit. So you buy a brand new pair of shoes, download Strava, chuck on your Apple Watch, and go out the door to run. 5 kilometers, no prior training, no plan, just pure motivation. You get home exhausted, sore. Walking downstairs suddenly becomes an Olympic sport. But you tell yourself, no pain, no gain, and you go for it again tomorrow. Another 5 kilometers, again on Wednesday, again on Friday. Come Saturday, your knees are actually screaming in pain. Now let me ask you something. Was running the actual problem, or did your body simply not have enough time to adapt? Because those are two very different answers. I think one of the biggest misunderstandings in healthcare is that we treat pain like it's a sign of damage. Sometimes it is, but not always. Think about the first time you started lifting weights. Your muscles hurt. However, the soreness afterwards doesn't mean you completely destroyed them. It means your body was challenged and it needs to grow. Now, I'm not saying all pain is good. Pain is information. Pain can be a sign that you need to get something checked out. But pain automatically doesn't mean that something is worn out. Pain could be a way of your body telling you that I am not ready for the movement that you're asking me to do. And that brings me to a very important topic in sports medicine, which is training load. Imagine your body as an internal battery. Every run drains it a little. Recovery, sleep, good nutrition, all recharge the battery. And if you keep draining that battery without charging it, eventually it will go flat. Your body functions in a very similar way. It doesn't usually struggle because you moved. It struggles because it never got enough time to recover from the prior movement. And honestly, I think this is a much healthier way to think about injuries. You could have the perfect running shoes, the best watch, but suddenly, if you go from sitting on a couch to running marathons the next day, your body probably isn't going to thank you, because biology never cared about motivation. Biology never cared if it's January 1st. It adapts when it's ready to. And honestly, I think this is the lesson that's the hardest to accept, because we live in a world where everything is instant. We're so used to instant downloads, instant deliveries, instant results, but your body never was meant to work like that. It still follows the same biological principles it always has. Adapt, recover, adapt again. So maybe the question was never, how do I protect my knees? The better question is, how do I help my knees get better at running? Because one is built around fear and one is built around progress. Now, before you lace up your running shoes tomorrow, there's one really important thing that we still need to talk about. Because there are absolutely people who should not ignore pain, and there are situations when running is not the best answer. Part 4. So after everything we've looked at, is running bad for your knees? For most healthy people, evidence suggests probably not. As we've discussed, the bigger problem is not running. It's asking your body to do more than it's capable of. If you've had a recent injury, your knee is swollen, and your pain is getting worse than better, don't ignore it. Get it assessed by a professional healthcare provider. The goal is not to push through pain. The goal is to load your body appropriately. But here's what I found that's something really interesting. It's exactly the same conclusion that we reached to in our posture video. If you ever sat up straight at your desk thinking this might help, then this video is for you. I'll link it up here. For years, we've been told that one perfect posture prevents pain, but when you actually look at the evidence, it's far more interesting. Until then, stay curious, question what you've been told. Thank you for watching this video. I'll see you in the next Body Talk.